Hello, hello, you beautiful people. I hope you guys have been doing well. I've missed you guys much. And with the introduction of the February 10th patch, we do get this new unit, Theomars. Absolute chat of a unit we have here. Let's do a breakdown of his kit really quickly. So for his crit attack, he does a 790% crit damage AoE. On top of that, he applies an attack up buff for his ranged allies, which is stackable. And on top of that, he does deal additional damage to units under Frost Trance. So in general, attack up buffs are kind of falling out of favor for me just because they're additive buffs and we do have plenty of them. And this only applies to ranged allies, which is a little bit of a bummer. And Frost Trance will go into a bit more with his exclusive skill. And I think this is really where he starts to shine. So he does a 470% attack 3 times. So we love multi-hit. On top of that, he applies Archdemon of Frost buff to himself for 10 seconds. Now, Archdemon of Frost, so each hit he applies a sheer cold stack that is active for 20 seconds. And what'll happen at 5 stacks, he will cast Freeze, which is a crowd control for 2.5 seconds. On top of that, he will apply a debuff of crit damage taken up by 20% for 7 seconds. And we'll go into Frost Trance for a second, but I want to talk about this crit damage taken up by 20% for 7 seconds. Right now, there are 2 other units in the game that'll apply this crit damage taken up buff. Shazam at his 7A and Trinity for her 5A. Both of those will apply a crit damage taken up by 10% for 10 seconds. So this is an insane buff. This is not like your crit damage up buff. This is a multiplicative buff. So one of the premier buffs in the game, he applies that for 7 seconds once he does get 5 stacks. On top of that, I do want to let you guys know as well. So when it says each hit, this is not just your exclusive skill. So that means that you do not need 2 cycles of your exclusive skill to proc this, but you could do your exclusive skill, you could do your crit attack, it could be your basic attack. If you triple, those will all count as stacks. So he will have no issue applying sheer cold stacks at all. The only downside is that after you do get those 5 stacks, he will proc this Frost Trance for 7 seconds. And essentially what that means is during that 7 seconds, they're unable to receive sheer cold stacks. So what this means is you're not going to have 100% uptime for this crit damage taken up buff. It's only going to be 7 seconds, but when that does elapse, you'll pretty much be doing your next rotation for your exclusive skills, so you'll have no problem having uptime on this. This will pretty much just be 7 seconds for every 10 or something like that. On top of that, like we did mention earlier, while they're in Frost Trance, even though it does seem like a downside because you won't be able to apply more stacks, he personally will be dealing more additional damage when they are under that, which is very, very nice. Let's go over the Awakenings now. So just as a base kit, I think his crit attack is a little meh, and I think his exclusive skill is pretty strong, especially at base kit. It's very interesting that we're able to get a multiplicative buff this strong. But going into the Awakenings, his 3A, it's pretty stock standard, I'd say. And for his 5A, this is pretty standard as well. He gets the standard range up buff, which makes him PvP viable. It makes him really, really excellent for tower defense. And he applies a crit damage up stack for himself for 20 seconds with each successful stack application on an enemy. Again, this sounds absolutely broken, but do remember that while they're under Frost Trance, you won't be able to apply more stacks. So it is a good DPS buff, but from what I've seen, it doesn't take him to that insane Mago same-A level that we have gotten used to. Going to the 7A, this is pretty nuts. So the only downside that he has really in his kit is this problem with Frost Trance, and he's not able to apply more sheer cold stacks. What does his 7A do? His 7A makes it so that when they're in Frost Trance, he applies a weakness buff for 15%, and he applies a crush rate up buff to himself and a damage dealt by 20% to himself as well. This is pretty crazy. So again, this is going to be the kind of buff that you see for units like Kraka, Dusky, Elanoa, but do note that this probably won't have as much uptime as the other ones. when you think about units like Kraka, Dusky, Elanoa, their damage over time abilities will last 10 seconds, so they'll have pretty much perfect uptime for their target weakness. But even though this lasts for 10 seconds when he applies his exclusive skill, do note that the Frost Trance, it only lasts for 7 seconds. So when you're comparing this to other 7As, you're missing the 3 seconds of uptime for this 15% buff. But I think that if you do get it, it's still one of the best buffs in the game. On top of that, with his base kit doing a crit damage up by 20%, I mean, it's a pretty stacked kit if you can get him to 7. Now, should you summon for Theomars? Yes, you should. What is the problem? He is running with Shazam. If you don't have Shazam, you need this guy for everything. You need him for dragons, you need him for PvP, you need him for Tower of Ascension, you need him for Rift. So Shazam pretty much will always be my top priority for recommendations. Before, I used to say his 7A is fantastic, which it is. It is a 10% multiplicative buff, as he does do that crit damage taken buff. But again, I'd say you can just probably take him to 5 and use him as the best in slot tank and use any other for Theomars. I think that Seimei as well is one of the best DPS units in the game. But again, her damage buffs that she gets for her 5A and her 7A will just be for herself. But a unit like Theomars, once you do get a 7A, again, that'll be amping your whole team's damage. So even though Seimei will have much better personal damage numbers, this utility that he provides is absolutely insane. I'd say Shazam, top priority. After that is probably going to be Theomars. And then I'd say Seimei after that. Seimei does have this immunity remover, but it doesn't proc as quickly or as consistently as you probably would like. So I'd say he's probably going to be second priority after Shazam. Looking at how he's built, I do have some decent traits here for crit damage, crit rate. You could also throw in some attack if you're down bad on some dice. We have his accessories maxed, as well as some pretty solid Splendor Stones. Let's go look at his damage numbers in Naraka. And I know I did do my runs with putting him in. Do note that he doesn't overlap with Anavel, so he does not apply a Frostbite. So when Dragon's Nest, when the weakness is Frostbite, you'll still need Anavel. But going into his personal damage, let's take a look. Holy potato. Okay. So finally we get this going. So he has pretty respectable damage, but he kind of falls into that big lump of characters kind of in the mid-high range. So units like Dusky, units like Elanoa, Zeta, all of these are kind of around the same tier in damage. So is he going to be a best in slot DPS? No, but his utility is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, I know that the damage numbers, so previously my Naraka was around 77. We did have some insane buffs for Magic Circle, especially with some of these passive skills. So I think you can kind of ignore how big the damage bump was. In my own experience, he had about a 2 to 3 million bump to my personal Naraka score, which is very, very good. I do think he's going to be a fantastic unit, whether you're running him in stages, especially for boss battles like Naraka, Guild Boss, and with the introduction of this event boss as well, he is going to be fantastic here. And let's wrap it up by just going into the rest of the patch notes. There is this super rookie event. I'm going to be real with you guys. I don't know how many new players we have or early game players we have, so I'm not sure if we're... I'm sure there have to be 100 new players, but the 100 summoners who clear the most stages within these time frames will get a reward of crystals. I'm sure they did this in the past, so they usually post the names as well of the winners. So if you are a new player, it is a great time to start grinding through those just to see if you can get that super rookie reward. And going into the update notes, absolutely disgusting new critter we have here. Crush damage up, crush rate up. Two of the best buffs in the game. Again, if you have crystals, They should go primarily into banners, but if you can, try to get one copy of Baby Hippo at least. And you can always throw him into Critter Commotion to get more copies. But this, they've been releasing some insane critters recently. And again, Baby Hippo has two of the best buffs that you could ever ask for in a critter. So you absolutely do want to get your hands on Baby Hippo. We do have Dimensional Rift as well, so this will only be able to be accessed after you enter Rift stages. If you don't know what Rift stages is, it opens up when you clear max stages. So max stages right now, I believe, is 21,200. So once you do clear that, you can enter Rift, and you will have Dimensional Crystal. You get 2 attempts daily. It is going to be a standardized monster pool, so you will not be able to change formations. You won't be able to change your rosters yet, just because we don't have 50 legendary units yet. But I'm assuming once we do get over 51 units, you'll be able to take certain units out, like this Fire Monkey, and put new legends in. These rewards are completely randomized. So these are the rewards that you could possibly get, and they're all under a gacha system. Let's do a run really quick, just because I haven't done this yet. Hey, back up. Why am I so close? Why am I so close? Where's the camera option? Let me see my units. Okay. There are I'm just gonna skip this guy. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm just gonna skip this. Okay. So we do get some rewards for that, and there are cumulative rewards as well as you do go through it. So let's claim all of these, and we were able to get 2,000. Let me see. How am I able to open these boxes, bro? Okay, so we do get a new critter. Let's see what some of these stats are. Sorry, I should have rehearsed this in the past, but this is my first run of Dimensional Rift. So, okay. So you are going to get some unique critters. I guess that's all dependent on RNG. But again, any new critters you'll be able to upgrade. If you didn't know, critters will apply all of their effects, so there's no reason not to upgrade any of your critters. All of them are going to be worth investing just because they're going to be giving you stats overall. So I don't like that it's a RNG gacha system, but again, I do like that we're able to have more content and more rewards to go through day by day, just because it feels like we've been stalling out a little bit if you haven't been spending money. So it's nice that we're able to get more rewards and boost our account's power just naturally without having to pay money, which is always going to be great for free to play and low spenders. We do have some general quality of life updates. So if you are a new player, so if you're 2,000 stages under cap, which is 19,200 currently, you're able to skip stages in increments of 10. So new players, this is going to be fantastic as you're just going through it, so you don't have to go through thousands and thousands of stages one by one. And for returning players as well, you'll be able to climb through those a little bit quickly as well. They have some changes for magic circles. These passive buffs that the magic circle can give are pretty insane. They add a lot of damage to your account overall. On top of that, they did fix revival protocol, which is going to be an absolute nightmare for guild versus guild and PvP in general. But that pretty much wraps everything up. We do have this seasonal event where you are able to get a new emote. We love more emotes. And that should wrap up just about everything for me. You are able to upgrade your airship as well. I'm remembering all this at the last moment, so please, I do apologize for how messy the end of this video is. But again, a pretty interesting update. We did get some new changes, quality of life, some new content. On top of that, we did get new magic circles, so not the worst update. I think it's pretty good what they did add, so I hope you guys are enjoying it as well, even though I've been complaining a lot about this game. I'm addicted and I can't quit. So I'll see you guys around for the next video. Take care, take it easy. Love you guys.